Hello, I'm Toycat, and you've probably seen the brand new preview that dropped on Bedrock this week containing all of these new blocks and 2 new flowers, but you might not have seen that it contains this, the slate. It's dropped randomly into the creative inventory, and this new block is not the biggest shock of the preview because as well as the slate, Mojang have also shared the release date for the next update. That is not the one that contains the winter drop, but rather the one that comes out after that. How does this even happen? Well, let's go through it today because this is Q&A Saturday where I answer your questions not just about these two big things, but also seemingly about less hidden features like the resin, which I got so many comments about, people telling me I could make lava more lavery like this, or indeed you could cover it with a stone block to make a new ore, or you could just cover your forest floor and that would allow you to make it feel autumny there. But I think honestly you can use resin on basically any block in Minecraft and it's all going to have some creative value, which is why so many are excited. But this plus the focus of the update being that blocks and pale wood has lots of people feeling as though it's purely cosmetic and decorative stuff and that there's no usefulness really being added. This is a controversial opinion to air online, but I think it's got some validity to it because yeah, Mojang are adding lots of new blocks, but this is a problem that not just adds inventory clutter, but also creative clutter, in terms of the creative inventory being fuller and fuller, but also in terms of us now having so many orange blocks. Do we really need another set? I would say I agree with Soda Caustic, who says that I like that Mojang is trying to make something unique. They could make the creaking drop resin or something like that, but instead they decided to create a way more unique and fun way to get the material, which is true. Making a more and more advanced creaking farm is sort of a function for the game. They've made a new super terrifying hostile mob that you can't avoid looking away from, and then they've given you a reason to specifically go in there and hurt him, or at least try your best to. This is actually really fun in my opinion, and the reward you get for it seems like it's pretty decent. And speaking of pretty decent, I think it'd be pretty decent of me to go back and respond to Adrian Cowdy's question, which is when I played the beta, there was a new item in the creative inventory called Slate. What is it? And so let's go back into the update. Because I'll be honest, I entirely assumed this person was making it up, and I figured I'd just type it in just to be like, ah ha ha ha, they looked at deep slate and got confused. But nope, there is regular slate hanging out right next to reinforced deep slate, and yeah, this is a block that's very confusing to use. If you place it down, it's going to create a block that looks like this. It's going to open up a new command-looking UI where you can just type whatever you want. So, I love IBX Toycat, which is what most people type on their Minecraft signs, I'm pretty sure. And then what happens is you get this. And seemingly you get one of the most broken blocks in Minecraft that you can walk inside of, and if you also, by the way, it's the new block missing texture block here, but if you place it on the side of a block, you can sometimes actually see that it turns into a real sign, and this main block will go away when you relog, so you can see, oh, it's a sign block but with a question mark on it. And then I decided to just like do a bit of digging, and despite the fact that there is no slate block anywhere in any other version of Minecraft, there is something called the chalkboard in the Minecraft Education Edition. And so clearly, without intending to, someone at some point in the development of this particular preview decided to add slate to the game instead of the chalkboard, but they didn't add the texture to it. And so if you want to, this is one of the easiest ways to access this block right here, except then you'll be able to walk through it, which is, oh, and then you can see there is the sign hanging out in the middle there. Whoa, this is silly. So yeah, the chalkboard is meant to be used so that you can write more than on a sign, say, for giving lessons in Minecraft, which is why it's in the Education Edition, and now you know. Speaking of things you know, the Bundles of Bravery update came out this week, and inside the changelog was a secret hint at the update coming after the winter drop. In fact, I'd go further than saying it's a hint, because we learned about the Bundles of Bravery release date for both Bedrock and Java because they were releasing the PS5 native version on that day, roughly when we were expecting an update anyway, and so we seem to have had something similar with the PlayStation VR, which we all know the support was dropped. It's going to be dropped rather in March of 2025, but as T. Craig rightfully asks, isn't Minecraft Bedrock VR still supported on Windows 10/11 through mixed reality or Oculus? The update only talked about PlayStation VR, specifically PSVR for PS4, being discontinued. And at the time of them posting this comment 1 month ago, they were actually correct in saying that Minecraft Bedrock VR was going to be supported in the wider sense. However, midway through the Bundles of Bravery changelog, they just decided to post this random snippet about VR/MR, which is virtual reality and mixed reality, and they say their ability to support these devices has come to an end and will no longer be supported in updates after March of 2025, when you will receive your final update. Do you read that? You will receive your final update in March of 2025. After you receive your final update, you will still receive updates on your PC and be able to play without a VR/MR device. From this point on, you can keep building in your worlds, and your marketplace purchases will be continued to be available on a non-VR or MR graphics device, device such as a computer monitor. You will no longer be able to use your device with Minecraft, as it will no longer be supported in the latest updates, but that is a huge announcement. They are confirming there's going to be a final update for you, and that will be coming in March of 2025. This is big. I think it goes without saying, one of the jobs I have to do here on YouTube is make sure that I know when updates are roughly coming out, so that I can make the videos and content that people expect from me roughly when that happens, and now I know that March of 2025 seemingly is off limits because there's going to be some form of update. And to quickly play devil's advocate, you might say, well, no Toycat, this confirms that an update is coming out, but it might be a bug fix update, like 1.21.52 or something like that, and this is possible, and indeed it's also possible that 1.21.60 just comes out at that point and has basically nothing besides dropping support. But I think that just like the native version of Minecraft PlayStation 5, it's a pretty big deal to drop something like this, and so it's more likely going to be one of the monthly minor updates for the Bedrock version. If you don't know, basically every month, it's actually closer to every month and a half or 2 months, Minecraft drops some form of new update, and it includes whatever they've been working on over that time. So sometimes this is small parity fixes, sometimes this is bundles of bravery, and like in the case of December, it's going to be the winter drop. So if we know they're finishing the winter drop sometime before December, that means before the end of the year, we'll probably see them working on 1.21.60, and given that there are then 4 months between that and March, it's probably 1.21.70 that will be releasing sometime in March. And based on the fact that they're calling it an update, and based on the fact that they're trying to release many smaller drops throughout the year, I think that we might see some form of drop releasing in March. If we take a step and really think about it, June is when they switched from their one update a year system, which was always somewhere in June for the last like 7 years, is when they switched from that update system to one where they said, yeah, we're going to do multiple in a year. And so far since then, we've seen 2 drops. The Bundles of Bravery is a fairly small one, which was about 4 months after, and then about 6 months after, we're getting a bit of a bigger one in the winter drop. And so maybe in the next 6 months after that, they'll duplicate this same pattern with a smaller drop in March of 2025, maybe just a couple of features, and then a bigger drop in June of 2025, and that would be the 4 update a year cycle, with 2 being small and 2 being slightly bigger. Is that the plan? I think all of the information points to yes, but obviously with a brand new update or drop system, it's too early to say, but it does tie into everything else they've said about it. And speaking of saying things about it, Toycat, I have a question. Do you think any more achievements will be added to Minecraft? Because now hardcore is added, but there are no achievements for beating the game in that difficulty. Strange, right? Well, yes and no, because Minecraft has been adding achievements for every major update since about 1.13. We've gone from 44 achievements when the game started to 129 now. However, with the game updates being renamed to drops, the question is, which of the drops are going to be significant enough to add achievements? Is the winter drop with its brand new creaking and resin drop, is that going to be something worthwhile for achievements? That is a question we don't actually know the answer to, because obviously the Bundles of Bravery was a smaller drop. They can't really add many achievements besides doing something in hardcore, but can they do it for 121.50? If they don't, then we might not see achievements for quite some time, as they clearly are insisting that they're going to have these much smaller drops continue all the way into 1.22, and when will that happen is a fun question that's hard to answer, but kind of back to the winter drop, which is the update before then that I think many people have their eyes on. Super Cyclone is right when they say, I'm glad my newfound faith in Mojang and the update system was not misplaced. The Pale Forest had so much potential, and they would have been extremely disappointed if they left it as it was, but they didn't expect them to. Of all of the ideas they thought up, none of them were this unique. I expected an armor trim and not a new trim color set. That is, I think, the genius of Mojang, is being able to give some expectations to the community, but then being able to do something that is more creative and unique. I've seen so many comments asking for basically the same thing, which is, what if there were white pumpkins and fog? And honestly, these are 2 features which are highly requested and you think you want, but if you see them in the game, you're like, okay, it's foggy here, and now I can't see stuff. Oh yeah, there's a white pumpkin, it doesn't actually add it anywhere near as much as Resin, which is not just a lot more work to add, but also it's a lot more work to think up, like how should Resin be formed? Why is it unique? What can you do with it? What should the chiseled variant of it have? All of these questions are hard ones to answer, but in my opinion, that is what good game development is. It means listening to the community to work out like bases for ideas, but coming up with really interesting implementation. However, they do say that there are still multiple things they'd love to see, such as the eye flower being 2 or 3 blocks tall, and I think that that's a great idea, but an idea I like even more was this one from Cole1, where they say, I like how the Wither Rose gives you a wither effect, and so if you touch these, maybe you should go blind if you touch them. I think this is a great way to add the fog that people have been requesting from the Pale Garden without actually making it an always-on fog, because then, yeah, you touch it and now it's spooky, you don't know where the creaking is, and so you have to avoid touching these while running through the forest while avoiding all of those mobs. I think it's kind of genius, personally. What I also think is genius is the idea of Pale rogue saplings being available from the Wandering Trader. To answer your question as to whether they are right now, no, but I think Mojang always forgets about this till fairly late. One of the points about technical debt that the game is always creating is that in the same way that people expect a new armor trim now whenever there's a new structure, people are also going to expect that whenever there is a new sapling, it's available from the Wandering Trader. Is it actually going to be? Well, based on previous updates, they forgot until just after it came out, and given that we're very near the end of the development cycle, I hope that they don't, but I also could see some logic behind the pale sapling being one of the rarest in the game, because that's where it currently sits, even after the biome improvements they made in the week that I was gone last week. Speaking of improvements made last week, I can't go to the Minecraft experience because I don't live anywhere near Texas, so it will be serious work to go to Dallas, and yeah, I want to point out this is an interesting update, because I bought a ticket to the Minecraft experience, and I tried to go, but I literally couldn't make it work. I was in North America, but I had two very tight obligations, and I couldn't get between them, even if I wanted to spend the ridiculous amount on a last-minute plane ticket, and I figured maybe, just maybe, buying the ticket would be good enough, but no, Minecraft, or rather the people running the event, have decided even though you have a ticket, you don't get the cape unless you go there and you scan it somewhere, and so I don't have the cape either. However, people have started getting theirs. Here's a fun list of them. Definitely no interesting names in there, and they also have started coming to the Java edition, and so if you want to get your cape, you're going to have to go to Texas, or in theory to anywhere else in the world, because they say they're going to bring it to other places, but that's obviously going to depend on the success of this one, which means that this might be your only opportunity to get it, and it seems as though literally, even though having a ticket isn't enough, you need to be there in person, and so if anyone is going to the Minecraft experience in Dallas and somehow has access to a spare cape, please do get in touch, or if you can scan my code at the same time as yours, I would just love if there was some way that I could get my hands on a cape, and if you're willing to help, then, I don't know, please get in touch somehow. Speaking of getting in touch, this video has hopefully gotten in touch with your hype for both the next update and indeed the new update system. I do have very high hopes for the fact that we're getting a winter drop with really cool features by itself, but also then that somehow just afterwards they're going to be working on something that's coming maybe as soon as March of next year. I mean, we're probably not going to be expecting a Minecraft Live till April or May, but knowing that there's something coming in March means I can roughly clear my calendar and, you know, keep my busy time to January and February, which is something I appreciate a lot as someone who likes to travel but needs to be at all times alert for Minecraft stuff. Maybe that's too much personal information about me, but speaking of personal information, give me all of your credit card details in the comments down below, or you could post your feelings on the Minecraft update. It has to be one of those two things, so go do it. Anyway, speaking of the end of this video, I'm over now. Goodbye. That was a bad outro. I'll do better next time. Oh, there's also a secret feature in this update. You might have not have heard about it, but the number of eyes you get in an end portal has changed by default in a Minecraft seed, only by a little bit, but it means that the world record seed is no longer functional, which means the Minecraft world record is going to change after the winter drop comes out. So that's kind of cool, huh? Okay, let's talk about that tomorrow. That sounds like a Seed Sunday thing, not a Q&A Saturday thing. Have a nice day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.